right, well, this is the start of the live streams, John. What have we been doing this week?
Well, so it's going to be super casual. We're just going to basically invite some staff over who are working on stuff. We're also going to talk about what's in here. So a couple things. One is these came out. These are Stacky Cups. I don't know if you can see, but we've got big stacks of them. So you can stack them. What is it? 2, 4, 6, 7. I've gone kind of insane with how many I've stacked at times. So those work well. One of the bummers is they are expensive to ship to some countries like the US. And one of the reasons is, I had a scale here. Here it is. So actually, if I turn it around, in theory, top camera. Let's see if this works. Ooh. Top camera.
Yep.
Ta-da!
We're good.
Cool. So if I put Tipsy on there, so that one's 115. That one's 106 grams. Okay. And if you're wondering why these things are expensive to ship, that's 195 grams, 190 grams. 190 grams. So you can see each of these stackies is about twice the weight of a Tipsy, and unfortunately, shipping sand by airplanes is expensive. So in some countries, unfortunately, these things, we can go back to this camera here. And so these Tipsies, people have asked, why are the Tipsies so much cheaper to mail? 2 reasons. One is we sell them in 2, because most people only need 2. But 2 Tipsies is about the weight of 1 Stacky. And also people tend to want 6 Stackies. So you're looking at 1.2 kilos versus 200 grams. So that's that. I did want to show you, this is a little prototype that we did. And that's only 120, 124 grams. These are more like small lattes. Have you felt this one?
Oh, nice.
It's way more delicate in hand. So essentially, the more you stack them, the more thick it has to be in order to withstand it. So maybe we'll make these someday. Kind of depends what people want to drink. But I wanted to show you those. Another thing we've got here, a bunch of inserts that Levi made. So one of the suggestions at Decon was from Scott Rayo that percolation, which is water passing through the material, was not a great idea for tea. It makes it astringent. And so the suggestion we had in discussion was, what if we took one of these baskets, filter 3, put one of these things that's got some holes in the bottom, which calibrate to 2 mils per second, put one on the bottom, put some tea on, and then put another one on top. And now we've got restricted flow of 2 mils per second going through this, and also restricted turbulence. So that is something, these are not food safe, these are just our prototypes. We've got food safe ones coming. And in, I don't know, a week or 2, we'll have some of these mailed out for people who want to experiment with making fine tea with the filter 3 basket, because that's what Shu Ying was doing.
That's right, yeah.
Our tea master. So
yeah, I think cool. They originally tried it with filter 3 papers originally, and that's where the idea was kind of come from. And we found that building more resistance via the papers, and then obviously we wanted more control. And I think that's a really cool way of going about it.
Yeah, I mean, water pouring right through tea leaves is going to make it astringent. Yeah. So it's got to have some time to steep. So we'll see. I don't know if that's going to make good tea or not, but Shu Ying's one of the 5 examiners in China for tea, so maybe she knows something. So I've got that. I've got some other stuff. Let's get Mark over here. Cool. So Mark is my programming assistant. He's been with me for a few months. And so here's the half-decent scale. And he's writing some apps. Does that thing do anything?
Which thing?
The big microphone?
Yeah,
I hope so. Should be.
Oh, it does so. Okay. Alfred's doing thumbs up.
Yeah. So right now, so if you go to if you own a decent scale, whether it's half decent scale or the full weight, you should be able to see in the tech support menu there is a new button that's called Scale Apps.
Yep.
So you go there. There are 2 options right now. It's live. The first one is fairly simple. You just web way. So it just shows you the current reading of the scale directly onto your Chrome browser. Right now, the web-based Bluetooth communication only supported by Chrome browser at the moment.
So that's Android,
yes.
Mac, Windows, and sort of Linux.
Yes, yes.
And you can also export to CSV and JSON your weights.
Yes. And then the second button you will see that would be same weight dosing. So that's kind of simulating a scenario that maybe you're running a coffee shop that you want to weigh maybe the next 20 espresso dose. Maybe you're using 18-gram shot or 20-gram shot, and you want to pre-made that, and that's kind of the app that is going to be very helpful for you. And
that's mostly working, and hopefully next week we'll show that. So in other words, we've got a bunch of apps that Mark's programming, and they're going to be web apps and multi-platform. Right now running on Bluetooth, USB will be soon, and Wi-Fi, because this scale does do Bluetooth, USB, and Wi-Fi. And the nice thing about the Wi-Fi is it also means iOS apps.
Yes. So in the next milestone that we want to reach is to have a Wi-Fi based MQTT, the standard-based communication protocol set up. So that will be a web app based, but also be able to talk to the your smart switch or whatever device you have, and then you can use our have decent scale to control that.
Right, so let's go to the top camera again, because we've got a bunch of stuff here. Alfred's manning the camera, so I'm not going to make him come out. You can stay.
Okay.
Because what Alfred has made to help you program, but also real demo. So this is a bean doser, and what he's put in here, if you can sort of see from above, is it's a huge drill bit. But it's a drill bit that's big enough for beans to fit in. And basically, as it turns, the beans feed forward and come out of here. And there's a power plug here. And what Mark, I believe, has done, and that's where the beans go. So beans on top, feeding through here, and then coming out to the bottom. And that allows the scale to give you a weighed dose when using the app.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And what are you putting here? Are you putting some sort of special power plug, or is there something in here, or what's the deal?
So we're going to implement, so right now it's a Bluetooth switch that we're going to add over here. So basically, once it's connected to the web app, it can basically you can set maybe I want 20 grams, and then our Chrome-based web-based software it can control when to stop it. So basically, the have decent scale will be able to read. Okay, I'm reaching 20 grams, and then I'm going to shut the power off. So in the long run, it can be applied to your single dose grinder. So these will be more like a proof of concept. Later on, it can be used on a niche, for example. Yeah.
So one of the things we haven't shown you, because Alfred's boxed it all up so it looks tidy, is we put the solenoid, like what's inside here, into a niche. So you know when you push the cables back in, if you pull the cables out, there's a gap inside there. And we were able to put a Bluetooth switch inside the niche. So we have a Bluetooth-enabled niche grinder. Stick that on top of your niche, and now the niche is a multi-dose weighing grinder.
Yes.
And in a week or two, we'll demo that here.
Yes. Hopefully it will be next Friday, yes.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yes.
What else do we have here? And that's a stand for that. What else do I have? Oh yeah, Paul, I wanted you to talk about, you're off the hook now. But we can show let's show your app.
Okay.
Let's,
I need to.
Maybe this won't work this way. I don't know if that's actually going to be visible. You know what, let's scrap that, let's, because it's not going to be visible. We'll properly cast it from a tablet next week.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Burrs. We have burrs
yes.
from FM.
Yes. Very excited to implement the new Turkish burrs, which they have designed from the ground up.
Right. So this is FM, who make these grinders that we have here.
Right.
And we've always used SSP high uniformity burrs. And we have noticed, in fact, we've got charts we're not going to show you right now.
Yeah.
Actually, can we show the chart on the tablet? see if that works.
Yeah, I was quite excited with these burrs because it was that case of finding limitations of hardware, and not that what we were using wasn't very good. It was very good, but we just found pushing it with lighter roasts, especially during decon.
Yes.
We found we had to switch grinders and increase dose to.
I mean, the big problem is the the SSP burrs are great at having no fines.
Yes, that's right.
And so you don't have much puck resistance. And let's see if we can. I'm going through a bunch of shots. All these shots are now with the new burrs, and I think we're going to find.
Here we are. We're there now. Yeah. Old burrs.
So you can see there a lot less pressure. And if I go, we're just having trouble building up pressure because we have no fines. And then all of a sudden, we change burrs.
It's me dialing in, so this is a bit over.
Yeah, and then suddenly we got a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And what I think is super interesting, if we go actually I'll just hold it down so we go to the most recent ones. And you see the pressure go down and back up again, and that's showing us the presence of fines as fines migrate down.
Yep.
So and we found the shots were really tasty on it.
That's right, and it's that fine line between your puck degrading as the solubles are coming down, and we essentially require those fines to increase the puck integrity so we can negate those instances of channeling. And it is channeling that we're trying to stop. So even though we are compromising with more fines, with clarity, we understand that it's better than it channeling towards the last third of the extraction. Yep. So really excited to see what we can unlock now, because it is that term grind finer, it definitely opens up the coffee a lot more in terms of its complexity and aromas.
I think on the 120 ml grinder here, we're really happy with it for filter coffee.
Yeah,
beautiful clarity. We don't grind fine enough to make espresso on it.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was the big change here. Was we were like on the last few measures of grind.
Yeah.
And you showed me this morning the SSP burrs.
Yes. Should I get them just around the corner?
Yeah, sure.
Yep. Be right back. So we did actually receive these pre-seasoned, and if anyone doesn't know what pre-seasoned means, it just means that the burrs have been worn in, so that they're more stable. So I don't know if you can see there, but if you could feel these, these on the edge are pretty blunt. On the inside, they've still got a bit of teeth on them, but essentially we were correct. We were 2 notches off pretty much zero. For the majority of the time of these burrs.
Yeah, and obviously we're so close that now as you rub your fingers on this, there's no chance of cutting yourself.
Yes, yeah.
Whereas this morning on the new burrs,
yeah.
you cut yourself up.
I had a little bit of almost a paper cut on my fingers,
yeah,
so...
that's gotta hurt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we are big fans of SSP. They make fantastic burrs and low fines. These burrs do deliver on that. But especially with lighter roasts, you're going to have trouble developing pressure without any fines.
That's right.
So nice to see someone new coming in.
Yeah, and it's definitely tackling a problem with larger burrs that even we've experienced, and you could obviously help yourself with paper filters and things like that, but obviously that's an extra cost and extra effort. Better to have your hardware more appropriate to the style of coffee that you want. So.
All right, I'm seeing if we've got other stuff that I was supposed to cover. And if there's any questions, we can also, let's talk about the Bellows. Let's go back to the front camera.
Yeah. So one of the other problems, well, not really a problem, but a legacy of grinders, no matter what grind you are, like back-to-back shots, you're going to generate heat. And with all heat, things expand and your grind changes, and you do get instances of more retained fines. So the stability of the grind back-to-back shots during some demos, I did notice nothing that wasn't too big of an issue in terms of cook quality, but definitely the remakes were up. However, with the Bellow here, even from the start of just installing the burrs, less than 2 days, I'm finding great consistency because you can see all the retained grounds coming out. And I suspect they are fines majority.
Yeah, so when I'm using this grinder, I always spray.
Yep.
So otherwise, I get about a gram.
Yes, yes.
Now, are you finding if you don't spray that most of the stuff comes out with the bellows?
I've not got enough experience yet to tell, but yes, from what I gather. But I am getting more sporadic on the outside.
Yeah, it's spraying a bit as
That's
it comes
right.
out.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's great because this is kind of a pain in the neck to have to do this. And the problem is if you forget one, then the next one, if you do it, then you get tons, like 2 grams too much as they all comes out. So yeah, we will show you the inside of the niche, and well, I think that's it, except I wanted to make a coffee for myself and my new wife.
Yes.
She's got an accounting deadline, so she's needing a coffee. While I make a coffee, so we're using beans from l'Alchimiste in Bordeaux, France. We like these a lot. They're kind of an interesting bean because they buy the entire lot from the farmer, and they have for I think a decade or so.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and where most roasters have been either having to way increase their prices or have been going to less good beans because bean prices are way up. They've been somewhat insulated from the shock of the prices because they're paying a year ahead of time, and the farmer has, I guess, thanked them for the stability that buying the entire lot means for him. It doesn't have that shock every year of is he going to sell his beans at what price. And they roast them medium light, which allows us, if we want to make a more traditional drink or a quite fruity drink, depending how we pull it.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it. It's so versatile.
Yeah.
It's hard to find such a versatile bean.
So I would say, like this morning, it was like super smooth. I wouldn't mind if it were a bit more fruity. And you can see the pressure we've got is still quite high. We went from 9 bar peak, and then we ended at 8.5. And I think what I'm going to do is go coarser and try and bring that pressure down. What I'd like to do is basically see fine as be playing a less important role. Like if I could go from 9 to 6 bar, then I would feel like, okay, erosion, puck erosion, which is happening, is actually taking place. So I'm going to do my thing here. Sure. Actually, talk about these things, because like stinky barista towels.
Stinky barista towels, yeah. Well, in a fast-paced environment, you kind of want it color-coded for hygiene reasons, but because we're a bit more relaxed here, we kind of use it, and then when it's too dirty, we put it underneath. But what's great about these is, you know, they do last a week with washing every day, and they're pretty cheap.
So just to explain, so these are essentially halfway between a towel and a tissue. So they come in a box that looks like Kleenex. Yeah, I'm sure you'll find it. Yeah, they are.
Yep.
Here we go. And so we use them for about a week, and then when milk makes them go to cheese, we throw it out. But what we found is when we're using towels, it didn't matter if we boil wash them, they just turn rank.
Yeah, they always have that sort of weird funk about them after a while.
Yep.
It's kind of like cotton filters for siphons. You have to put them in the fridge and things like that.
Or puck spacers. That's why we don't use puck spacers.
Yes, that's right.
Because they turn nasty. This is not meant to be. I got coffee flying. It's not meant to be necessarily lecture time. I do want to talk about what we got going on, but I also thought it'd be fun if anyone's got anything interesting going on in their life or coffee life, any questions they have, problems they have in the Decent universe or other things. So go ahead and post something if you want us to cover it. If not, we're going to make coffee.
I'll weigh out your next dose.
Thanks, and I'm going to spray. Let's get the side camera, which is the super cool espresso live shot.
Upside down. I was wondering why you took a little bit longer than usual.
Yeah, not that anyone can see anything, but and one thing about these FM grinders is we do have RPM on them, and at 500 RPM we were not really seeing any fines with the SSPs, not in the charts. We do see fines with their burrs. So I've got a funnel on there. That looks great. We also need to recenter this.
Oh, I did it this morning.
You did it this morning?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. That looks good.
It's even better when you wet it.
I did wet it.
Oh, you did?
Okay. Yeah. And let's see how, yeah, I see some fines coming out. Oh, actually.
That's a lot.
A lot of fines. All right, now it's stopping. And what were you going to say? Oh, yeah, on the on the big 120, you got new threading for the burrs?
So we got a new thread, which basically means the dial has more flexibility towards the grind that you can do. And originally on the 120, our dial just couldn't go coarse enough for filter 3. So they sent us this new dial, and while the movements are a little bit wider, it enables us to get fantastic filter 3 brews. So that and Raulanges I'm finding is great on here, but wouldn't do it if you got a small amount of beans. You know, if you got a good cache of beans, because they are 120mm burrs. You know, changing your grind will require some purging of beans. Yep. But what I was quite amazed about was when we used Scott's beans, and his roasting consistency basically made the grind settings very, very tight between all the different roasts. And which basically made, you know, making masses of filter 3 during the demos much easier rather than dialing in each time.
So I've given you that to taste because I brought it back 2 notches coarser.
Okay.
And looking at the chart, I think we peaked at 6 bar and 4 mils per second. So we should have a lot more fruit.
Yes, we're getting more of the blueberry, fresh blueberry skin in there, which we kind of lost a little bit before.
It's smelling way more fruity. Let's get a top view camera on that, because you can see also it looks like a light roast now. Right, the crema's really dialed back.
It's juicy, it's nice.
Do I get a spoon as well?
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. If not, I'll just pour it in. Thank you. Right, so we don't have much body.
Not much body, no.
Pineapple?
Pineapple jammy.
It's good coffee, though. I mean, it's a good light roast. It's got a bit of acidity, but no one would say it's because of chandling. It's just a lower pressure shot. I mean, I remember years ago when I started this 10 years ago, I went to Macau to Blooms?
Yeah, Blooms, yeah.
And they had a weird La Marzocco machine, I think called the shot puller, that had been discontinued. It had no steam, but it had variable pressure.
Yes.
You couldn't very dynamically, but you could say, like, I want a 6-bar machine.
Yeah.
And they were pulling 6-bar shots, espresso shots, and I asked them why, because I'd never tasted that. And they said because they were roasting these beans that smelled amazing, but tasted terrible. And that with this machine at 6-bar, they were making them taste good.
Oh, okay.
Now, I know, like, nowadays we're like, yeah, duh.
Yes, yeah.
But 10 years ago, they were the first case I had found of this, like, the beans are good, the extraction's bad.
Right, yes, yeah. Well, I think everyone was still in that realm of, 3-9 bar range, right? And it was kind of like, well, 6. That's kind of a little bit, there was a little bit of snobbery going on at that point, I presume.
Yeah, and obviously the lighter the roast, that's why Gentle and Sweet I made at 6 bars. Because, well, there are 2 reasons. One was if you have a light roast, and you're just channeling like mad. And the other was a lot of people were using Baratza grinders. Which are nice looking, good value for money, but plastic burrs, and really have trouble maintaining pressure.
That's right. I actually thought when I first came to Decent that was a really clever profile, because it essentially tackled a lot of initial hurdles that people may not have realized when they're prepping their coffee. And even accounting for a subpar grinder with the recipe, I thought was incredible to get getting a quality shot that was better than what they were used to. And because they were making it themselves, it kind of added to that experience as well.
So I've got 2 questions. So one is, are these 2 squares grinders? They're made by a company called FM, which is Chinese. It's a guy who just wants to make EK for espresso, like the best ever. I think they're Fujitsu motors inside.
I think Mitsubishi.
Mitsubishi, yeah, that's right. With SSP burrs, until recently he's doing, now he does his own burrs. He sells in small quantities. I mean, the guy just wants to make the best grinder ever. He's not really in business. And He's a lot of fun to collaborate with. We think these are the best grinders ever at the moment. Like, this is the best thing. The one thing we really want is we want the bolt holes gone. Weber has done that. I don't know if the Ultra has done that, but definitely the Monolith has gone to magnetic mounts or rear mounts. He told me that that's coming soon, probably because he can make his own burrs. But yes, we love these. So another question was, on Adaptive V2, do we change the 4-gram dripping target? Yes, totally. So if you're trying to get more fruity, then something more like 8 grams of dripping. So in other words, when you're making a shot, Londinium, Adaptive, a bunch of other profiles, they've got a pressurized pre-infusion stage where there's some dripping. If it just gushes, you got a problem. But if only like 1 gram comes out, you're probably too fine.
Yeah, yeah.
And generally somewhere between like 2 to 4 is normally where I'm at, but I've got beans at home that are tasting a bit muffled. And so I'm going a bit coarser. My 28, 30-second shots are tasting boring. And so I go coarser, I'm making 24-second shots, and I am hitting 8 grams of dripping. Got any comments on if you watch the dripping during Adaptive?
I notice it more when beans are aging a little bit more, and at home I'm finding that's okay. I just extend the ratio just to balance it out. That's the way I do it at home, because I don't want to change too many things. So I just extend the ratio, maybe bump down the temperature. And usually, you know, I don't have to fiddle with anything else, and I'm happy along my way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other question was, are we going to go to 49 mil portafilters and baskets? So, I mean, that's highly unlikely, because generally the smaller diameters are better for darker roasts, and darker roasts are not really our audience. And I'd also say that if you're really into narrow baskets, get yourself a traditional lever machine with like a 44 or 49 mil basket on it, and you'll get super smooth, super thick shots. I mean, Italian roasts and Italian lever machines co-evolved. They do a great job. That being said, you can always make a basket smaller, right? And there's a couple companies making adapters from 58 to something smaller. I think you're the one who did all the wasted basket stuff. Do you remember what our very wasted basket tapers down to? Something in that range of 44, 46.
I think it's maybe 46 or 47, maybe.
Yeah. So what I'm talking about is, I asked Paul a while ago to look at dark roasts and what we could do to give them some love. And yeah, that's one of them. Yeah. Is this our very wasted?
Yep.
Yep. Very wasted. So there it is. And you can see it's going from 58 down to, I don't know, something, 40-something, quite tapered. But because it's not straight walled, it's still quite easy to use. You can use a normal tamper. And you do get thicker shots, less channeling, but you also flavor.
Yep, that's right. More the richer flavors compared to a flat bottom basket. And how can I describe that?
What do you mean by richer?
So the sugars will become more like molasses, for example. And you'll find the acidity will be a little bit more tamed because of the reduction in basket size at the bottom, and because of the reduction of acids, those richer flavors just seem to become more. Great for milk drinks, good for black drinks if you like that heavier, sort of richer flavors, but for me, for next, now that we've got the Turkish burrs especially, I'm intrigued what the light roast with the Turkish burrs in this will taste like. And I'm even toying with the idea of the nylon paper filters as well. And that's simply just to reduce the cost of each shot, because some of the beans that are very, very light roasted, high quality can be, you know, 200 Hong Kong dollars or more. So, you know, more experimentations.
With the high uniformity burrs, when we first got them, and we were really struggling with channeling and light roast, and so we were playing with wasted baskets.
That's
and we were getting pretty good shots from that. So filter paper plus wasted, wasted baskets or tapered, whatever, is going to give you less channeling, just because you have thicker pucks. So, but we always lost clarity. I think your favorite shots were 15-gram basket or 14 slightly wasted?
Yes, and it's mainly if we're working with lighter roasts, the less of your dose, the less your recipe has to work. So it's kind of pushing me to that era of smaller doses with lighter roasts, and I do prefer that with lighter roasts.
All right, that's it for today. I want to keep these short and sweet. Everyone go back to your regular scheduled life. We are going to repeat these topics Monday morning. We won't be quite as awake. But America will be going into its evening, so hopefully we can catch some Americans with these same topics. And see you next week, where we have some more stuff, and hopefully Mark will have finished everything. It'll all be bug-free and beautiful for you to use.
Have a good weekend.
He's coding right here as we speak. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.